Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Total War Attila. We are in the summer of 395 AD, and the Jpades have recently just sacked one of our northern cities, as well as the Visigoths are in the process of raiding throughout our provinces. Meanwhile, we're at war with quite a few people, as you can see here, largely a result of the Sassanids, who are basically the Persians, declaring war on us, and a whole bunch of their client states also declaring war on us. So we have a two-front war in the Baltics. Baltics? Good lord, where the heck am I looking? We have a two-front war, one front in the Balkans, if I can get my geography right, and another in the Middle East, fighting the large Persian or Sassanid Empire and their client states. So we're definitely overstretched. We don't have the manpower to deal with both of these forces. We've got 4 legions in the Middle East, but we've got a huge border and frontier to defend. So it's not like we can pull everyone away. I am shifting one unit up from kind of the Palestine, Israel sort of area north, and hoping to link that up with the troops in Amidia so we can kind of link 2 legions together and hopefully have a strong enough force to move on the Sassanid front. I'm not quite sure how strong they are, but ideally we can counter the Sassanid army here just to the southeast of Amidia. Meanwhile, hopefully to prevent the Sassanids from attacking us before we're ready, I can look at going ahead and raising some mercenary troops here for the 3rd Legion. I've got enough money to do it, and I also, by one of my kind of side objectives, is to maintain at least 5 mercenary units in our army. So I'm thinking we'll go ahead and do that. It'll probably hit our upkeep pretty heavily, but at least it should protect Amidia from a direct assault from whatever the Persians have there, as a result of them essentially maybe not being on an even footing, but if we raise 5 troops, we'll certainly be in much better shape with a much stronger army, nearly doubling our fighting power. So that's what I think I'm going to go ahead and do here. I'm just not quite sure what the makeup of the army is. I don't want all ranged units. We seem to have quite a few of those. But we don't have enough cavalry, and the Sassanids, the Persians, always have quite a bit there. So you can see we raised quite a bit of cavalry there. Some of them mobile archers, some of them just regular heavy troops. And now we've got 13 units there, so not a full stack, but definitely a respectable one to hopefully counter whatever, again, the Sassanids may have. You can see here we're now meeting one of our side objectives, maintaining at least 5 mercenary units, although that doesn't really matter until 400 AD when the chapter ends, so we need to make sure that we continue maintaining those troops or raise new troops. In our technology research, we're not yet to our objective. I forget what I'm doing. Oh yeah, Greek philosophical revival, which will then open up the codification of laws, which is another one of our side objectives. The Visigoths are in our territory, so that's one of our side objectives we're failing in. But on the plus side, there are no Ostrogoths in our territory, so that is something we're succeeding in. As you can see here, we've got 4 governors spread throughout the empire. We've also got our faction leader under Flavius Arcadius, who's the emperor, who is 18. I mentioned in the last video that every single year is made up of 4 turns. We've really only progressed 1 turn so far. Not quite sure what I want to do. If I want to go after the Jpades near Marcianopolis here on the northeast of the Balkans, or just raise more troops for the 4th Legion here. So I think probably in the short term it's better just to raise more troops to strengthen ourselves. Hopefully the Visigoths don't move north and sack Sassidia, or whatever it's called again. I think they sacked it last turn. I could be wrong. They've got 2 very large stacks there, one near Trintonium, or whatever the hell it's called. I don't know. But we're also raising 4 cohorts in Constantinopolis, so we can't really move that unit either. You can see here the Visigoths are on the move again. I'm not going to fight this battle out. It's another 560 versus... Well, it looks like they've got about 2,000 men now, so they must have raised some additional troops or mercenaries or something. We'll go with an aggressive stance, hopefully inflicting more casualties on them. Not as many as if we fought the battle, but still a substantial number there. 125. It's better than nothing, but it's not what I would have liked, but still, it's better than nothing. So they took the city. Looks like they probably just sacked it because it's still in our control. And yeah, that's the second or third city they've sacked in the Balkans. So they're ravaging Greece just per history. Per history, Alaric, the Goth, spent quite a bit of time ravaging through Greece before moving on to Italy and Gaul to threaten the Roman Empire and threaten Rome itself later in his career. So we've got some pop-ups here. We've got a consumption outbreak in Thessalonia. It's an odd... Wait a minute. So Iteroporus or something is basically making false claims about our emperor, Flavius Arcadius. Looks like we have two choices. We can either ignore him and gain the trait of out of favor and lose some control, or we can pay him off, but we'll lose influence if we do that. I don't want to lose 15 influence. It's a pretty hefty loss of power. So I guess I'd rather just lose 4% control. I'm not quite sure. It doesn't tell me what the trait out of favor does, but that's kind of a neat little occurrence there that happened. Yeah. So you can see here consumption, a disease outbreak of consumption. You might be wondering what is consumption. When I first saw that pop up, I was kind of stunned. I was like, what the heck is consumption? Are people eating too much or something? But in fact, consumption is actually tuberculosis. Not quite sure how it got the name consumption, but anyway, tuberculosis is consumption. So we can see here the Goths have an army. Alaric hasn't moved, but the Jpades are also still at war with us and threatening our Balkans territory. So we're going to move against the Jpades first because they're a weaker faction, which we nearly beat when they tried to sack that city of ours. You can see here their army is in terrible shape. They've only got 460 men. We outnumber them almost 4-1. So we'll just go ahead and auto-resolve this fight. I don't need to, outnumber someone 4-1 and beat them. It's kind of we should beat them pretty handily, and we did. You can see there we defeated them, only lost 48 men, gained some valuable experience for our forces, and won a decisive victory. We can kill the captives, which will make their allies, their friends, and their other members of their tribe hate us even more, although obviously it would be very effective. What are our other options here? Let's see, we can take on the warriors and basically recruit them into our armies, which is pretty common for this era for the Romans, less so perhaps than slavery. So that's an option. It wouldn't make people hate us as much, but it does cost us some fighting effectiveness. Or we could ransom and release them, which hurts our integrity but raises some money. So I guess we'll just go ahead and we'll take on the soldiers into our army. I don't want to make anyone too pissed off just by executing people. I don't need to make more enemies than I already have. And you can see here we killed several Jpad leaders in battle, 2 of them actually. I'm not sure if that wiped the tribe out or not. They're a minor tribe who you can't play. So, yeah, I mean, at least there's no more of them are in our territories anyway. And you can see here the 4th Legion is getting much larger. It's up to 14 units. Some of those units which started kind of at weaker strength are starting to get closer to full strength. Meanwhile, the Legion we moved out of Constantinople isn't really able or ready to move down against Alaric, so we'll have to wait on that. I'll link these 2 armies up so we can hopefully make one large stack. Okay, and we also we finished Greek philosophical revival, and we're ready to go ahead and work on codification of laws, which we should have in 3 turns to meet our minor objective there. Because of our mercenary purchases last turn, we don't really have any money to repair any of the damage that we've suffered as a result of the Visigothic raids in Thrace. Our garrisons are slowly recovering, but not in any kind of shape to resist anything of substance here. And yeah, so the Goths still have kind of free reign here in Thrace. It looks like Alaric may be just waiting, trying to reinforce his tribes or his soldiers there, who did lose pretty heavily in their assault on that city when I fought that battle on the first video. You can see the Jpades, actually, their opinion of us is improving. They approve of our gifts given to Huns. I don't remember doing that. That were a great power. cultural tolerance, but they, obviously they're not happy. We're at war with them. Apparently, they like the Western Roman Empire. Our military alliance broke down with the Romans last turn after they already got us in a whole bunch of wars and were trying to get us in a whole bunch more that I really wasn't in the mood to fight. So we broke that military alliance. But relations seem to be improving with them, maybe because we crushed one of their armies. I don't even know if they have much in the way of armies left. Again, they're a minor power. Looks like we're much stronger than they are. So we can offer them a peace treaty, and it says they're likely to accept. So we'll just offer a white peace, and there we go. We've made peace with the Jpades, who are outside of our territory. They probably have a tribe there just across the Danube. But as far as I'm concerned, hey, we made peace with them, and our relations are improving. So let's forget about them. We don't need to worry about more wars here. Trying to get some of these wars that we're in, trying to end them, because frankly, while the Eastern Roman Empire is in much better shape than the Western Roman Empire, it's not ready to take on half the world. It's even the Eastern half, Rome at this stage is a shadow of its former glory. So no sense in rocking the boat. We need time to stabilize, and stabilize, as well as build up our industrial base, our financial base, and hopefully our military base as a result. Again, we're much better off than the Western Roman Empire. However, that doesn't mean much when you're beset by huge tribes of barbarians, and the fact that the Huns are out there somewhere kind of working their way towards us.
Please
So,
don't bother with meaningless pleasantries.
well, we're already at
Talk of
peace with them.
meat,
I was
not
trying to
honey.
find some countries that we can make peace with to try and cut down on the number of wars we're at. Again, only the Visigoths are in our territory, and I think the Persians. But speaking of the Persians, let's check that out here. So by raising those mercenaries, it looks like the Persian forces, or the Sassanids, who are the Persians, have fallen back, maybe not to Nisbis or whatever that's called. We've got a good-sized army here. It might be worth pursuing an offensive into Persia. I don't really want to fight a full-scale war with Persia. My hope is that we can maybe, and I'm disbanding some units here to try and free up some upkeep, because you see they're up at the top. Our upkeep is in pretty bad shape. We're negative 400. We're going to be bankrupt within a turn, and if we can't pay our soldiers and our barbarians, that'll be a problem. But yeah, I'm trying to. My hope is that I can win one big battle against the Persians and then sue for peace, and at least get them off our back for a little bit. Because as I said, we don't have the financial resources to fight two enemies on two different fronts at the same time right now. We can probably afford to maintain, two good-sized armies, two nearly full stacks, fighting off one enemy, but one full stack isn't going to be enough to deal with the Visigoths. Or the Persians, probably. So if I can isolate an army or a province, destroy it, and then negotiate for a peace treaty, that's my goal. So that's kind of my thought process here. Meanwhile, again, trying to cut some costs. Those mercenaries, they basically accomplished what I was trying to accomplish with them in cutting, basically convincing the Persians not to go after Amidus. But now I'm not sure what to do here. I've got that troop in Antioch, and I'm moving them toward Edessa. Again, probably next turn we'll link the army in Edessa up with the army in Amidia, and then move on Nisbis. And I might be pronouncing that name. I can't see it. What is it, Nisbis? I think that's what it's called, but I might be pronouncing the name wrong. And then again, it's not the Sassanid capital, so hopefully it's rather lightly defended, and maybe we can use it as a negotiating tool to sign a peace deal with the Sassanids and their allies. The Armenians are their allies out east as well. Interestingly enough, Armenia, I believe at this time, was constantly fought over between the Romans and the Sassanids. For a long period of time, Armenia was a tributary state to the Romans, or to the Eastern Romans, or later the Byzantines, but it was one of those states that was being fought over. It's currently a protectorate and a tributary state of the Sassanids. The goal obviously would be to make them a tributary state of us, but basically getting a peace deal of some kind with the Persians should really solidify our eastern borders. Meanwhile, you can see here, raising the tax levels on the lower right will really make some people unhappy. Where they're at right now, they're moderately okay. If we raise the taxes, it will make many more provinces unhappy. However, we're going to go bankrupt if we don't do it, so we may just have to do that. It'll slow down our growth a bit, and Macedonia is already going to be upset anyway because of the fact that they're getting raided by the Visigoths. Plus, we've got several large armies in Macedonia, so if they do rise up against us, hopefully we can put those rebellions down with a fair bit of success. That's my thought process anyway. They're also not happy because they've got pestilence going on, so they've got a plague going on. So they're not going to be happy anyway. Raising taxes is only going to make it worse, but hey, hopefully it's not too bad. We've got a character with an unassigned skill. I don't quite fully understand skills. I'm not a big fan of you being able to choose what you become good at, but there's also traits which randomly get applied to people. So maybe skills are like, you're saying, I want to focus in becoming really good at X, and therefore you become better at it, and then, traits maybe are something that just happen because of your personality. Although I liked when skills were kind of randomized based on kind of real-world factors, like, you win constantly in defensive battles and you become a good defensive fighter. I think that's built into the game, but I wish that was, more of it. I don't think you should be able to choose all your character's skills or whatnot that they develop, because let's face it, I mean, there's no one central authority that's deciding, what everyone in a family should do or should learn or what have you. Anyway, just a little bit of my own ramblings here. As we go through the next turn and wait for our turn to come up again, as the Visigoths once again launch another attack and sack another settlement. But at least it looks like Alaric hasn't moved. He's still just outside that one city of ours, so he's remaining stationary. Maybe we can bring our armies up against him and defeat him. Hopefully, that's the idea anyway. And it looks like consumption may be spreading. Stupid tuberculosis. Now spreading into the heart of Anatolia. Food shortages, lovely. You can see our stockpile of food there up at the top is down to 5. So that's a bit concerning here. So now we can bring the 4th Legion and the 11th Legion out toward Trimetonium. I really shouldn't even pronounce the city names here. I'm just going to get them all so damn wrong that I'm just getting made fun of. Looks like we can move far enough to attack them. But I don't think I'm going to do it this turn. I want to move the armies close. I want to probably merge them under one commander. And then once we do that, then we can move in an attack, hopefully next turn. Alaric's kind of going to be caught between the city and our armies to the rear, because we are in kind of Macedonia. Well, not Macedonia, but we're in the Thrace region, which is very mountainous, as you can see. I think we'll just move everyone into...
Advance.
Ready for orders.
I mean, we can move everyone, all the strong units into one army, and maybe all the weak units into another, all the kind of tributary... No, let's just make one massive super army, and the other can be kind of the reinforcements that'll support them. So one is kind of more of the border spearmen, the other is largely cohorts. There you can see we've got, 8 cohort units, or cohort units, as well as 4 Roman archer units and 2 Roman equite cavalry units, with as well as 5 spearmen. So we've got a pretty good balance of units going on here. Unfortunately, we used up all our move points and can't attack Alaric, so we're going to have to do it next turn. Still a pretty impressive army that I think we should have a good shot of beating Alaric. But one thing I will say I've noticed about the game, doesn't seem like cohorts are nearly as powerful as kind of the cohort equivalent were in the original Rome Total War 2 or even Rome Total War 1, which is a nice twist because by this point in time, the Roman legions are made up of largely barbarians. The barbarians who were fighting Romans were accustomed to it. The tactics Romans were facing were new and novel, and really kind of the Roman military had stagnated, and while it was still an effective fighting machine, it certainly was no longer the pinnacle of world militarism any longer. Maybe in terms of individual soldier discipline, certainly, a lot of the barbarian tribes are not very disciplined, but not in terms of just overall fighting quality. Not sure if I want to appoint anyone as a count. I guess I could give Vindonius the rank because he did win that battle. Kind of give him the rank of military count. I don't think I have to pay anything for someone to become a count, unlike a governor, which we have to pay for. I don't know if it's just to limit how many people you make governors, if it's to symbolize travel, or, you know, winning political favor to get someone assigned to be a count. I'm not sure. We're here in the winter of 395 AD, and I think we're going to go ahead and move our forces toward Nisbis. I don't see any I don't see any Sassanid forces nearby. We'll do the same thing here. We'll merge these armies into one as much as we can. We can't move the general unit, but we can move everyone else. So it's nearly a full unit at 17. And I could raise some mercenary units to fill it out and make it a full stack of 20. I think I might do that. I do have the funds. Since we're going to be besieging an enemy city, probably want to add some catapults, maybe some slingers and javelins, so you've got some ranged troops when they come out to play. Although our army is a little bit too heavy in terms of ranged units for my taste. I'd like more heavy infantry. We really only have the 2 cohort units as our heavy infantry. So you can see here a pretty even fight. If we decide to fight the battle, it would be a pretty even fight here. And we would have about 500 reinforcements, 2,300 men versus our, is that 2,700? Can't really do math. But it might be just easier to encircle them. I don't want to get my army destroyed in a fruitless frontal assault, so why don't we besiege them? And I think that's all we can really do this turn. We've already kind of done what we need to do in Thrace. Because of the mercenary purchases, we don't really have any leftover money. So I think we'll go ahead and end the turn. Vindonius has an unassigned skill. I thought we just gave him a skill. Does he get another one? We could make him a dukes, which makes him cunning, or we could make him an infantry commander, which makes him better with melee defense and training, or we could make him a sentinel, which makes him better at recruitment. Navy recruitment and melee defense. I think we'll probably go with infantry commander, just because I want him to kind of be a field general. I don't want him to be kind of more bureaucratic, which it seems like if you look at some of the traits of some of these other units, they seem to be a little bit more bureaucratic in nature. So I think that's what we'll go with. Just looking over all the different options of where their kind of development path will lead them. But yeah, we'll go with infantry commander and check mark that and end the turn. And I think we're going to move into 396, so we're through a year. It only took us 3 videos. Uh-oh. Islands have marched into Roman territory now, so our assault on Alaric may have to wait. And the Sassanids looks like they've moved some reinforcements up in this. Oh, good lord. Over 4,000. Oh my god. That's 6,000 troops. Gotta pull out. Hopefully they don't come after us. And they're going to. Holy crap. Over 6,000 enemy soldiers when you include their reinforcements versus just over 2,600 men of ours. We're heavily outnumbered, heavily outgunned. But I can't retreat anymore. I think I'm going to have to fight this battle manually. I don't think I have much of a chance of winning. We're outnumbered by more than 2 to 1. They've got a really good balance of forces here as we look through them. A lot of cavalry. So yeah, I think we're going to have to fight this battle out manually. But not this video here. We're at about 24 minutes. So I think the next video we'll talk a little bit about the Sassanid Empire. Maybe a little bit about the history. While we fight the battle out. I don't feel like I have much hope of a victory. However, my goal isn't so much to win as it is to win to force a Pyrrhic victory where we inflict so much damage on the Persians that they don't have the ability to, go out and take these cities. This is going to be a really important battle here early in the game because if we lose, we could have essentially 2 of our 4 legions in the east destroyed in one fell swoop. And our eastern provinces will be laid totally bare to Persian assaults. So we need to inflict enough casualties on them so that they simply don't have the manpower and the ability to overcome our garrisons in the other provinces, which aren't nothing. So, maybe if we can inflict 2,000-3,000 casualties on them, and maybe keep a couple hundred of our own troops and kind of reform in one of the cities, we'll give them enough pause to hesitate from attacking. Hopefully more, maybe 3,000 or 4,000. But that's enough of me rambling here. The next video is going to be our first massive full-scale battle between us and the Persians, and we'll see what happens. But I appreciate you all tuning in, and until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out.